What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Dean, aka the Blue Crusader, and today we're going to be back for another Apex Legends Legend Guide, and today we're going to be covering none other than Lifeline herself, the healer of the team. This month's giveaway, the March giveaway, is Dirt 3, the awesome racing game on Steam. So if you want to enter, make sure to subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, and click the link in the description below. Also make sure to click in the comment section and drop your opinion on the video. The link in the description and the comments allows you to enter the giveaway. So let's jump straight into the tips and not waste any time, shall we? So we're going to jump into the core kit of Lifeline, look into her abilities including her Q, her ultimate, which kind of playstyles you want to use as this legend, and how you can effectively play as your team as a defensive role and also an aggressive role when necessary, and how to utilise every single part of her as a legend. So first of all, we'll look into the actual functionality of all of her abilities. The passive ability for one is the resurrection ability. Basically what this does is it actually allows you to revive your teammates 25% faster than any other legend. This basically means that you'll revive people a lot quicker as Lifeline, so if you do have a Lifeline in your team, it's basically paramount to make the Lifeline revive people rather than any other squad mate. This is because obviously a 25% increase is 1/4 faster than any other teammate will revive your other teammates, so using Lifeline is extremely important. Another reason why using it is important is because depending which direction you actually use or face, it will put a shield in front of you to protect your teammates. So it's really important that you need to position yourself well when reviving, because if you do so, you'll have a protective shield. There's so many different moments where people will be pushing you and you'll need to be doing a quick revive. But don't just do a rushed revive, you need to make sure your shield is blocking the incoming fire. This is super important because if you are getting flanked and you need to activate a really quick revive, you need to be blocking those last potential bullets from an oncoming enemy that may be pushing you. Using Lifeline in this situation can really save your team when getting pushed when your team's slightly lower in health or armor. The shield actually protects all incoming damage, so reviving against a wall also means you'll take no damage. If you can somehow position your revive against a rock face or a cliff for an example, or even a wall or behind a door, literally anywhere where you can hug yourself against a surface and get your shield revive up, will be a lot more beneficial than reviving in the open. Even so, you do have a shield, you can only block one face, so if you block in front of you, you can still get flanked or pinched from behind, so make sure you have a good position when reviving a teammate, because it's a lot more important than reviving a teammate faster. But if you can do it in combination with speed as well, you'll revive a lot more teammates and save your team in a lot more situations. A useful thing also is to activate a health drone, which is your Q ability, before reviving. This is really important because it actually heals your teammates as soon as they get up from the revive, and it also makes sure that you're healing behind the shield if anyone's spamming grenades or trying to put damage onto you behind your shield. You can also deploy this health drone before an engagement in a fight. For an example, if you're camping or static, so if you're standing still within a building or you're waiting for the enemies in a still position, putting down the health drone can make sure you're healing during the oncoming fire as well. It can be super beneficial and can make sure your teammates don't get too low on health when the enemies do eventually push you, and you can take them by surprise. Now the ultimate ability is one of the most important on Lifeline because she is a support character, but this is the ability that's really going to help out your whole team as a whole. It's nothing to do with reviving, it's nothing to do with really giving your teammate health, but it's actually an airdrop. It's slightly different to the standard airdrops in the game in the sense that you can't actually get any legendary weapons from them, so you can't get a Kraber, you can't get the Mastiff from these airdrops, but they're still super beneficial to your team. So if you are looking for weapons, Lifeline airdrops are not really your go-to, but the best idea is to actually give your Lifeline's ultimate accelerant items, which will give them 20% energy towards their ultimate abilities charge, aka for using the airdrop. So the more ultimate accelerants you find, you want to either give them to your lifelines so that you can use them as soon as possible, or let your lifelines farm them as much as possible, because most other characters don't really necessarily need the ultimate accelerants as much. Lifelines using the ultimate accelerants will make sure that their airdrops are off cooldown as fast as possible, and you can start spamming those airdrops and giving your teammates loot. Using these as much as possible will mean your team will get tons of airdrops throughout the game. Remember, gear is paramount in battle royales, especially Apex Legends, and will help you win a lot more fights. It's really bad when you get to the last few circles at the end of the game and that strong team at the end always has that gold armor and all the gold items. For an example, gold backpack and gold helmet. Everyone has all the best items at the end of the game, and if you're doing this, you can make sure that you're the team who has the better loot, and this will mean you'll win a lot of fights. Remember, even if you've got good aim, sometimes you do lose fights just for the point that the enemies have a lot more better loot than you, so just make sure that you get as many airdrops as possible. Be careful though when landing your airdrop, because it can hurt people. This also means teammates. It will give them a warning direction when it does drop, but it will hurt them if they stand underneath it. But it can also alternatively hurt enemies, so if you do want to actually try your luck and drop it on an enemy, it might actually kill them, but it's extremely unlikely. It's more likely to actually make them shift and move position, which can be also useful to make them move out of the current position or cover if they have the advantage. The only downside is they might actually take the loot. Now you can actually use the airdrop for many different uses as well. For an example, the airdrop can be used as cover or dropping on enemies like I said, but cover is actually really useful because if you're in the open, you can kind of just drop a clutch airdrop and just hide behind it. It'll only fit maybe 1 or 2 teammates, it's not going to be too useful, but if you really need to get cover as quick as possible, the airdrop can be useful, although it does take a few moments to actually drop. Beware though, the airdrop does actually give away your team position, especially when you've already been spotted close by and marked by the enemies. For an example, if you're playing Wraith, you can actually notify your teammates if you've been spotted, so this can be useful as well. Although I do see a lot of lifelines activate the airdrops even when they've been spotted or when they're in a common place. This is a big mistake because if people know your position, they're either going to try and contest your airdrop or they're going to come and try and kill you before you take the loot. Make sure to get an airdrop maybe on the edge of a zone or somewhere more derelict that people won't be, so you can save the looter. If you just drop an airdrop anywhere when you've got bad loot, it's going to bring trouble to your doorstep, and you don't want this to happen. Now, there's a few different items which are actually going to be perfect on Lifeline. Some that are more beneficial than others, and some which are just absolutely perfect. Now, we've already covered over the fact that ultimate accelerants are the most useful to use because she can increase her ultimate charge rate, but there's actually some items which you can also get out of your own airdrops which are really going to benefit you at the end of the game, and I'm going to cover them. Now, as you may have already guessed, they are actually legendary items, which are the gold ones, and for good reason. So we're going to go over the 2 most important items for Lifeline. So the first one being is actually the backpack. If you've actually had the legendary backpack before, you'll already know that this is a useful item, mainly for the reason that you can actually heal yourself a lot faster and also use armor faster, so it will reduce your heal and shield use time. This can be useful in fights because you want to use your health drone as much as possible, but when you're in the thick and thin of fights, you want to use your actual med items on yourself, including the syringes and also your shield items, especially shield batteries which give you more armor but take a lot longer to charge. This can be super useful when using your backpack, and it can also mean that you don't waste your drone in a really bad position where it won't even be beneficial. If you're behind cover and you need to heal or put shield on really quickly, the backpack can be really useful. Now, it doesn't really specifically aid Lifeline in any way, it's also beneficial to everyone, but this is just really useful if you need to quickly heal or stack up armor in a fight. Now, the next item is something which is actually directly beneficial to Lifeline, and that is the legendary helmet. You want to make sure that your Lifeline gets the legendary helmet. If you've got a friend or teammate playing Lifeline, you want to give them the legendary helmet. As long as they're not a bot or someone who's just terrible at the game, you want to make sure they get this item. Now, you're probably wondering, why do you need to give a Lifeline a legendary helmet? Well, it actually reduces the Q and ultimate ability recharge time, which means, you've guessed it, more airdrops. So along with using those ultimate accelerants, granting a Lifeline the legendary helmet will further increase the amount of airdrops you can get in a game, which yet again further increases the amount of loot you get. You want to be getting legendaries for your team, and you want to be getting all those attachments such as digital threat and all the best stuff for your team, and the only way to do this is stack on airdrops. and this is just another method which is super useful to make sure you get a lot more loot than usual. A good composition for your team also is to have a lifeline and a Gibraltar. Remember, that way you have Gibraltar's shield as well as the shield of the lifelines during a revive, so stacking them together can actually be quite overpowered. You need to kind of consider team compositions. Lifeline is just a really beneficial and useful character in general. My friend always plays Lifeline when he's playing with us because even though he personally doesn't believe he's very good at the game, he's always still useful that way because he can drop down a clutch heal or an airdrop so we actually get loot. So it's still a really good character even for beginner players or intermediate players. So using those attachments along with the ultimate accelerants, you should be farming to increase the number of airdrops your lifeline can use. I hope these tips have been beneficial. A lot of these tips I only learned recently and I've really wanted to share them. I feel like the ultimate ability being increased using the ultimate accelerants and the legendary items is definitely one of the best tips to make your gameplay on Lifeline a lot better and make yourself more useful for your teammates, and it's definitely the way to play clutch as Lifeline. I hope you learned some new tips and tricks from this guide and they are very helpful in improving you with this character. If any of these tips were new to you or useful, then slap a like on the video and make sure to subscribe, because we have a legend guide on literally every single Apex Legends character on this channel, so you can also check them out. The last video we did was a guide on Octane, so make sure to subscribe, and if you are subscribed, make sure to enter this month's giveaway in the comments and description to win Dirt 3 on Steam, which is a racing game. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you next time.